As the Saints' first-round pick back in 2014, wide receiver Brandon Cooks is still trying to fight the stereotype that the prototypical wide receiver in the NFL has to be at least 6 feet tall.
Steps up and throws deep down the middle, and it's Brandon Cooks.
Despite a small serving size, Brandon Cooks was arguably the Saints' most dangerous wide receiver last season. 5 touchdowns and over 500 yards receiving from a guy that said he was still trying to figure it all out.
The knowledge of the game had to increase just from different looks that I saw last year. I felt like the game was a little fast in that area, but now with our new coach, Johnny Morton, he's definitely helped us in that area to be able to think less and be able to play faster.
A broken thumb while playing special teams limited Cooks' availability last season to just 10 games, so he's well rested for this training camp, and he's already in sync with his quarterback.
I was in San Diego the whole time training for the offseason. I was with Drew the majority of the time. So we basically, through the offseason, more after the OTAs when we got back to San Diego, we threw more often than we did right after the season.
That extra time with Drew Brees has paid off. The hands, the speed, the finishing ability, all things that a top wide receiver, no matter their level of experience or stature, possess.
I can't do anything about the people calling me a small receiver. Guys say he's not your prototype receiver, but what is your prototype? A person that can catch the ball, can run good routes, and has speed. And I guess the tall part is the factor that I'm missing, but I feel like I'm doing those other things at a high level.
Now, Brandon Cooks is no doubt Drew Brees' most explosive wide receiver, but Garland Gillen, his most reliable one. We've known him for a long time, coming in back in 2006.
Juan, 2006, what a magical year for the Saints. Sean Payton came to New Orleans. Drew Brees came to New Orleans. As you said, Marcus Colston got all the way to the NFC Championship game.
Here's Brees pumping left, throwing right. Wide open is Josh Hill. 5-4.
This is what Saints fans are accustomed to the last 9 years in the Superdome. Drew Brees connecting for yet another touchdown pass. He's entering his 10th year with the Hoodats, but he's not alone in the class of 2006.
There are 4 guys on offense: Zach Strief, Jory Evans, Marcus, and myself. Pretty incredible that you could have 4 guys from the same, coming in at the same time 10 years ago, still be here together. That's pretty amazing. I'd say, it's been pretty unusual for us. I mean, over the last couple of years, last year, Meacham, Pierre, year before, Lance Moore, a few others. So a lot of guys that had been in and around that 06-07 time frame. So we had been together, 7, 8 years. That's highly unusual in this league where there's so much turnover. So consider myself very lucky to have teammates like that and to have had them for as long as I've had them.
When the Saints drafted Garrett Grayson in the 3rd round of the draft, he was seen as the heir apparent to Brees. Right now, Grayson's just trying to survive his first NFL camp.
Like any young quarterback, I mean, there's going to be struggles. He has a lot thrown at him at this point. When you talk about the complexities of the offense and, all that we're responsible for at the quarterback position, and I think just the tempo at which we want to operate at. So I think at times he did that well. I think, other times, just like any young QB, you're working with guys, too, that are kind of in the same boat as you with that 3rd offense. And so, not only are you worried about your stuff, but you're having to get guys lined up and maybe telling them they're split and maybe what the check down is or, whatever it might be. So you got a lot running through your mind, but overall, I thought he handled it well.
Garrett Grayson's on a 4-year contract. Drew Brees has 2 years left, and guess what? McCown and Griffin only have 1 year left, so it's going to be interesting to see going forward who's the quarterback of the New Orleans Saints.
We know who the quarterback is right now. It's Drew Brees, without a doubt. It's going to be interesting to see whether or not he ends up having to renegotiate his deal for next year, stick around for a couple more years. Of course, a lot depends on how they finish the season. With Garland Gillen, I'm Juan Kincaid at the Greenbrier. We're covering the Saints, Fox 8 Sports.